All right, we're building boats. Oh man, this is one of my favorite things to do. Obviously, I am in a new world for it. Gonna check the audio real quick. Okay, audio's good. It's perfect. This is gonna be perfect. So, let's get rolling. I gotta pull up the size of the boat. We're gonna be building the USS Hannah, which is the first ever ship commissioned by the U.S. Navy way back in 1775 by George Washington himself. Um, it was to kind of defend against the British for their merchant vessels and stuff. You know? You know what I mean? Okay. 104 feet long. I need the one from 1775. Okay. Gotta do feet to meters. So we're gonna do 32 meters long, which would be 32 blocks, because one block is 1 meter if you don't know. Then we'll pull up our little reference picture. And I like to, when I'm building my boats, so I got my block palette here. What we'll do is, we're not going to include that very forward mast in the length of the ship. And that's just because if we're building at a 1-to-1 scale, you notice that adding that or including that in the scale makes it very small, which is difficult to work with, to say the least. Okay, I'm just looking at some reference pictures and then we'll get started. Just gotta find a good picture to use. There we go. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll start out with the bottom of the ship, and we're just gonna have it on the ground. You know what I mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. And then, okay, so we got that. And then it needs to curve up because that's what it does. So I'm at 28, that's 29, 30. Now I do need to know how tall it is. What we might do is 29, 30, 31, 32. And that's probably more realistic just because it's a small boat. Yeah, we need to figure out the deck height and we need to find the width. Okay, it was 5.5 meters, so we'll do 6 meters 'cause we're gonna round up, which means 1, 2, 3. Wait, no, we'll do 5 just because it'll be easier. Which, as you can see, it's a very skinny boat. So we'll do 7. Just because we're gonna have the deck be 5 meters. Yeah. Okay. Or I mean, realistic. No. No. Yeah, we'll do this. Yeah. Okay. So 7 meters wide, which is rounding up and then adding 1, which is inaccurate, but then we need the deck height. Um, well, this says 26.67, but I don't think that's right because, well, I mean, it could be, but based on like pictures and drawings of it, I don't know. We'll go with probably 15, I think. So let's grab this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 13, 14, 15. See, that just doesn't look right. uh, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. That looks, we'll go 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6. We'll do 6. That's how high up we can assume the deck was. And now, we just gotta build. So we've got the rudder here, which was an interesting, well, I mean, this is like very classic shape for rudders. Now, the paint, okay, here we go, I got a good picture. The paint is an issue. Now, this is an interesting model. You know, you're never going to be able to find a perfect picture with ships this old, which is the worst part. But, we'll figure it out because, you know, all models are different. Because no one really, like this model has propellers. I don't think they had bow thrusters in 1775. I could be wrong, but I don't think they did. Which is why I don't think this one's right. But well, I mean, we'll go with this picture because it's, you know, it could be. You never know, I guess. Okay, that's our rudder, and what we'll do is we'll use a fence. Does that work? It's a rough. It's rough, definitely. But we'll go with it. Okay, now what we gotta do is actually build it out. So we'll do that. And then back here we had a lot. And now fill that in. I haven't heard this new Minecraft music. I know it, I know y'all can't hear it, but wow, I've never heard this. And then yeah, we'll go in like this. And copy that little design kind of thing. And then I'm gonna need one more block, I think. What we'll do is the keel kind of curves downward. So I think I'll do something like this. And your back is a little higher up here. We'll move that up one. Because there's like a little cabin back here, I believe. At the aft of the ship. At the aft of the boat. That's not even, I don't even think it's big enough to be called a ship. I could be wrong. No, there's not. No, there is one below deck. Okay, yeah. I see now. Yeah. Okay. Right. So we've got that, and then we'll lift this up a little bit. No. Do something like that. And then we'll grab, I think, spruce logs to line it. And yeah, we gotta stick this out just a little bit. It's not staying exactly true to the size, but it's okay. Because nobody knows the exact size. Be for real. Oh, wait. Yeah, never mind. This is fine. And now, something common on a lot of ships is the round, or the the aft of the ship. It really flattens out the higher up you go. So what we'll do is kind of this. I think. Do something like that. And now what we have is this stripped spruce. We're just gonna line the boat itself. And now here's where it gets interesting because it's going to be even more round. But what we want to do is kind of curve it in a little bit. You know what I mean? And we could even do that. And so the effect we have here is it broadens the aft, which is what you find on a lot of older ships. And I believe we need to cut this back just a tad. Yeah, like that. Even cut that off. There we go. Okay. Now, so what we have here is another case where, and this isn't, the most traditional thing ever, but on this ship specifically, and I guess on a lot of probably early naval ships, the forward part of the deck, the bow does broaden out a little bit. And so we'll have this kind of look. Yeah, okay. I'm thinking I do kind of want to cut this in and just have it flat all along the outside to give it. Yeah, okay, that's a more uniform look. It looks a little rough right now, but we'll get there. So we're gonna do. Oh, we do have another color. Actually, the color differs based on the picture, so we'll do the red that I have already picked out. No, but we have. So the deck is going to be right here. Actually, we'll do the deck along the the planks, the wood, the logs, not the planks, the logs. So we'll do it like this. Or, you know what? We may have it one up. Because we still got a little higher to go. Which it looks very weird because, it's so skinny. It's skinny and long. And reality is it should be a little wider, I think. Or smaller. Because, well, I mean, maybe this is accurate. It's hard to tell. But I mean, based on measurements, this is right. The measurements that I have. So we'll ignore it and we'll move on. We raise everything up one. And we're not going to broaden the bag too much. And then right here, and it does look weird, I won't lie. It's an odd looking boat. We'll do this. And then another layer back here. And now we got most of that done. We need some spruce stuff. Do that. And there we go, we got that done. Of course, that. And no, actually the bow is pretty flat. Okay, so we've got the basic shape down. Now what's important is we have this deck and this little mid deck, midship. It's lower down, at least in the pictures it is. And we can go in and get rid of this spruce. We can get rid of most of this, I think. I've got it all in a block palette right here anyways. We'll get this. Hold on to the spruce just in case. Now, so what we see with the deck is, of course, a lower midship, but also a raised bow, which is very, very traditional. And you see this a lot more in, like 1900s, so 20th, even 19th century and 20th century ocean liners and stuff. You'll see a wave break, which is that raised part of the bow. It'll look something like this. So you've got that, and it's very sharp, very pointy, and essentially it just catches the waves, which is what you'll see in a lot of ocean liners. Now, it's an interesting boat. We could do that. Gonna have to take some creative liberties, definitely, because it's not the easiest thing to recreate a ship from 250 years ago, almost exactly, actually. It's not wide enough for this, but we'll do that and have a little cargo hatch kind of down here. Because this isn't the main part, we'll have trapdoors. There we go. And I mean, we can just go and do all that. I could have centered that more. There we go. That's more centered. I'm fine with that. Okay, and then right here, we have kind of a lowered, well, I say kind of, but it's a lowered portion of the deck. So we have an interior cabin, and we can actually just drop one down because this is so raised up back here. We might even do is, well, actually, again, creative liberties, because I don't think this is a perfect scale. Go back a little further to about right here. And then up 2 instead of 1, and then for this, just go down 1. Yeah, okay. And then filling it in. That's all that's left, kind of. And then we'll try and build a little bit, you know, completely deck it out. Alright, so we've got a kind of, probably less accurate than I'd hope, if I'll be honest. And we'll do, yeah, we'll do this. Yeah, okay. Now, like I said, less accurate than I'd hope, than I wanted, but it's okay. Um, kind of what we've got going now is the masts, which there are two. And then there's the very forward mast, which angles out in front. First, what we'll do is put a door here. You know what? We'll go one block further, just for the sake of the door. Then we've got this little interior area, and I mean, it's not huge, but it's, you know, sleeping quarters or something. I don't know. I didn't build the ship. I couldn't tell you what it was. I don't know what the intentions were. Now, obviously, you know, older ships, they were all small because, you know, size was really hard to come by back in the day. Alright, so what we got to do, we'll build the masts. We got one very forward, probably about right here. And we'll use oak. And we'll get fences as well. So we can assume it was about right here. And we got to get a good size down. The interesting thing about the Hannah, and I didn't know this, I actually just found this out. It's designed similar to a fishing vessel, which is very interesting. So what we're gonna do to figure out the mast height is on the main mast of the USS Constitution, which is probably what we'll build next stream, is 52 meters tall from the deck to the top. And we can assume, since the USS Constitution is a good bit bigger. Yeah, it's a good bit bigger. Yeah, okay. We'll do 32 meters for the main mast, which means about 28 for the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. God that is huge. Okay, we'll, we'll do a little less. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 20. It's still huge. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. Okay, that's for the forward mast, or the front mast. And then the very forward mast, we'll do 18. We gotta figure out a good spot for it. Way in the back, probably about right here. And for this, we'll literally just eyeball it. Yep, okay, and then boom. Now, less traditional is the way the masts actually extended out. And it's something like that. That, you can see a lot of very traditional things, in this ship, which is cool, very cool. But it's also got its interesting features, like the broadened bow, which is not something you commonly see. Going way too far out. Okay. Now, the fun part, actually building the sails. And it's looking like, this is actually pretty interesting. And I've been saying that the whole time, but no, this is pretty interesting. So we'll do this. Well, no. So the way these top bits work, they're they extend up taller, but they're not nearly as long. So with those, you got like long reach. But these, that's more like it. And then gotta hold it up, of course. Do that. We'll change it up like that. And now the fun part, the actual fun part. Not really. It's not that fun. I won't even lie to y'all. A little bit of that. I said the actual fun part and then I did this first. Okay, no, the actual fun part. Nope, we got a little more build first. And this needs to be lower down. More like that. Two, three, four, five, six, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, actually, I'm looking at it, and this one's kind of taller, technically. But no, that one has a flagpole, so it's taller just by a little bit. We'll add a little flag to it, too, which means this needs to be redone. Okay. Alright. Now we're getting somewhere. This needs to be raised up now. And then this, 4, 5. Yeah, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One higher. Alright. For the most part, I think the masts are done. Yes, they are. Now we just gotta build the sails. Which is the real fun part. If no one's ever built sails before, I'm lying. It's not that fun. You kinda just gotta go with it. So what we might even do is just kind of spam wool and hope for a good shape. And what you gotta try to do with sails is just make it look good without actually knowing what you're doing. And that looks terrible. So what we need to do here is just cut off that and lay it in. And shoot, I kind of want to just make it flat, honestly. Or only poke out one. Only extrude it with one block, maybe. Sails, let me tell you, the sails are like an art. You gotta get really good at them for them to be any good. Okay, we'll do that. It's not the best looking. I won't lie to you. And then that. God, the sail looks terrible. They are hard to do, man, I'm telling you. But we got a second one to build. I'm gonna try a little kind of different style on it. Okay, maybe this one will come out better. Kind of. Let's just add a little depth. It's a little better. It's still rough. God, I'm just missing everything. Now, let me tell you, fence. Getting good with fences might actually be easier than sails, just because sails are so hard to get good with. I mean, fences, you could, it's not terrible. Fences, you could kind of just spam and they look okay. But I said the same thing about sails and it just doesn't look good at all. Seeing if you look from this angle, it's even worse, but we're not gonna look from that angle, so what's the issue? Oh yeah. And then see, okay, here's where I'm a little better. Because these are easier to do. Okay, I gotta get back on my game, because this is bad. Alright, that's something. We'll go with that. It's better than the rest, which is what matters. Now this, just gonna kind of see, but that's the complete opposite of what I have there, because for this one, the wind is blowing that way, and for this one, the wind's blowing that way, which does not make sense at all. They're getting better, I think. They're still rough, but as you know, it's been a while. Well, actually, you don't know, but yeah, it's been a while since I built sails. Probably, want to say like 9 months since I built my last sailing ship, and that was in survival, and it was a lot bigger than this one, which is a crazy feat, by the way, because it takes so much wool, and it's so hard to build because you can't fly around and do it. We'll kind of, yeah. You get better at sales as you go. Promise. Eventually mine will look better than this. It's just gonna take me a while. Okay, now I've got to do all the fencing, which involves a little bit of that, and a little bit of that, and there. I mean, there's not a whole ton to do here, but we can do. A little bit of that. Actually, go one step further and do that. Now, you see, actually, we'll go steeper. On some sailing ships, you'll have a sail down here, too, below this forward mast. And that's when you get into your bigger sailing ships, though, because as you see, this one, the water line is about right here. And so if you have a sail, it's gonna be probably about that big there, and maybe down to here, which means it would go into the water line, which is why on a smaller sailing ship, it's just not viable. But I mean, yeah, this is okay. Here, it looks very derpy, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you exactly why. And if you were trying to build this along with me, here's my advice before you even start building. Or if you just already built it and then you're like, oh wow, it does look derpy. Um, make your mast taller. I completely forgot. The masts are gonna look really tall until you put the sails on them, because when you have short sails, or when you have short masts, the sails look stupid. When you have tall sails, when you have tall masts, it's easier to build nicer sails. So here we have it, though. I mean, it's it's a boat. Oh my gosh. Okay, Minecraft is hard to do. Here we have it. It's a boat. It looks weird. It's very derpy. It's skinny. But this is the USS Hannah, the very first U.S. naval ship, commissioned in 1775 by George Washington himself, for the Continental Navy. and it was used to protect the merchant vessels. It had 4 guns on it. We can build those real quick, actually. I don't know where they were. Oh, okay, it's actually a lot simpler than I thought. They are right in the middle. It had 4 guns on it, which is not a lot. It's a very small amount. So they had the guns kind of right here. So what we'll do is this. Now you may be asking, how do you get in the boat? Well, I'm not here to answer that question. And then for the cannons themselves, you want to use... God, I can't even remember what I used way back in the day. You know, you can use netherite if you're in survival. Yeah, there's a really good block for it. And I know this because I... What are these? Harness? Oh, those are for the happy guest. I haven't played Minecraft in a while. Okay, well, the blocks aren't down there. We will use... God, I don't remember what I used. Polish tough. And then we'll add a button. Just for effect. So yeah, they had 4 cannons. It was a small ship. I said that many times. It was a very small ship. And then we'll do... Are there tough stairs? Yes, there are. Tough stairs instead. And there was also a lifeboat here, but there's just simply not enough space. I mean, we could try. Real quick. Okay. Nope, that's not what I want. Spruce. I'm gonna take some spruce stairs. Spruce shelf. What is that? It has been a while. We'll take oak slabs. If we do this, yeah, like I said, there's not nearly enough room for a lifeboat, but there was one right there. So I think we'll just do the cargo hatch. Yeah, so the hard thing about Minecraft is, and I don't understand it, is each block is a meter by a meter, but the scale is not like that for everything else because, you know, your player is a meter wide. And unless you're a very big person, you're probably not a meter wide in real life. And then, all the building stuff, it's just, it's a little difficult. I'm not gonna do the interiors on these ships. I will say that. I'm not that far in. But yeah, okay, we've got the USS Hannah built, and it looks weird from that angle. It also looks weird from this angle, because the masts are short. But if you go on the deck, it doesn't look that bad. Do a quick tour real quick. So you hop on the boat, probably, I have no idea, actually, because, you see, usually you get on right here, but the cannons are there. So we're gonna go with, you still get on right there. Yeah, we'll do that. You get on right here, and you've got the cannons, which of course have the buttons on them. Cargo hatch, which is blocked off. The bow, to look out, see what's coming. Fire the cannons at the village, I don't know. Go to the We can, you know what, let's add boom, bam, you know what, and then, nope, okay, we'll do that. Bam, the steering wheel, the captain's wheel. Then down here you got the the galley, the the sleeping area for all the people, of course. For all of the crew members, the 5 crew members. Well, there's probably more than 5. I'm gonna block this back off. Probably more than 5 crew members, I would assume. We can actually look it up. "42 man? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Alright, well, alright, that's the end of this stream. I'm gonna put this as a VOD, and then next time we'll build probably the USS Constitution or something from that class. Goodbye. Hopefully I'll see y'all somebody next time.